Every year since 1901, the Nobel Prizes have been awarded to deserving individuals and teams for achievements in physics, chemistry, medicine, literature, and peace. These awards were created and funded by a Swedish inventor named Alfred Nobel. Since that time, Nobel's name has been inextricably linked with these awards, most notably the Prize for Peace. But what most of us do not know is that Alfred Nobel funded these prestigious prizes with the fortune he made by inventing the explosive dynamite. So what motivated Alfred Nobel to create these awards and donate nearly his entire fortune to this endeavor? In 1888, when Alfred's brother Ludwig died, a French newspaper mistakenly ran a long obituary for Alfred, believing it was he who had passed away. In this obituary, Alfred was called the Merchant of Death. These words stung him to his core. He asked himself, "Is this how I want to be remembered?" Alfred Nobel had the opportunity to read his obituary while he was still alive, and what he read horrified him. So at that moment, Nobel made a decision that would change the way he was remembered forever. Instead of leaving his fortunes to a private interest, as so many around him did, he decided to leave his money to the world in order to bring benefit to all of humanity. With one simple act, Nobel changed his legacy forever. He was no longer remembered as a merchant of death. Rather, he is remembered as a source of life and of blessing and of peace. The purpose of Yom Kippur is to remind ourselves of the fragility of our own lives. Physically and spiritually, we feel our human limitations. In these moments, we appreciate how precious and short our time on earth really is. And we believe in our hearts that we just beat, that what we do and how we behave really makes a difference. So at this moment, we might ask ourselves, how do we want to be remembered? I met some amazing kids this summer on the pages of the New York Times best-selling book Wonder. August, or Augie Pullman, the main character of the book, was born with a terrible facial deformity. And despite many surgeries to make it possible for him to live, nothing was done that could change the look of his face. That meant that Augie was used to people staring at him, or even worse, completely looking away in horror and disgust. As he explains in his own words, "I know I'm not an ordinary 10-year-old kid. I mean, sure, I do ordinary things. I eat ice cream, I ride my bike, I play ball, I even have an Xbox. Stuff like that makes me ordinary, I guess. And I feel ordinary inside. But I know ordinary kids don't make other ordinary kids run away screaming in playgrounds. And I know ordinary kids don't get stared at wherever they go. If I found a magic lamp and I could have one wish, Augie said, I would wish that I had a normal face that no one ever noticed at all. I would wish that I could walk down the street without people seeing me and then doing that look away thing. Here's what I think. The only reason I'm not ordinary is that no one else sees me that way. My name is August, by the way. I won't describe what I look like. Whatever you're thinking, it's probably worse. As courageous and special as Augie is, and he truly is, and I hope you will read his story and come to hear Rabbi Bisno review the book on October the 3rd, the real wonders in this book are the people who look past his face and see straight to his heart. These people, some of them kids like Augie's friends Summer and Jack, had the courage to choose kind despite what everyone else was doing and saying. This choice was not always easy, but it teaches us about the kind of people that they are. We too can pledge to choose kind, a national effort that has come out of this special book. There'll be stickers by the front door on your way out, and I ask you to wear it tomorrow and to tell people about the pledge you are choosing today, to choose kind. And together, with Summer and with Jack and with Augie and all the rest of us, we too can choose kind and choose to be remembered for good. A young parent in our congregation shared a similar story with me. This parent's child came home from school on the first day and told him there was a new student in his classroom. The child wasn't sure whether he was going to like this new student very much. He had overheard some of the other kids say how weird the new kid was. This parent explained to me that he encouraged his child to introduce himself to the new student anyway. The new student should know your name, the father explained to his young son. You may or may not like him, but you should be nice and you should be kind to him so that he should remember you as being one of the nice ones. R.J. Palazzo, the author of Wonder, echoes this father's message. I hope that the readers of my book will come away with the idea that we are noticed and that our actions are noted. Maybe not immediately or directly or even in a way that seems obvious. But if we're mean, someone suffers. And if we're kind, someone benefits. And the choice is ours. We get to choose how we are remembered. Jewish tradition shares a similar message in this story about the prophet Elijah, who is known for bringing peace to people and who will one day usher in the Messianic age. There was once a very selfish and miserly man who came to the Baal Shem Tov, the founder of Hasidism, in the hopes that the Hasidic leader would help him to meet Elijah. Knowing how selfish and miserly this man was, the Baal Shem Tov was resistant to helping him. After a few weeks, the Baal Shem Tov said to this very selfish but quite persistent man, "This is your lucky day. You can meet Elijah this coming week. You must do exactly as I tell you. Fill up your coach with a full Shabbat feast. Pack your best food and bring it all to a certain hut in the forest and ask to spend Shabbat with the people there. On Friday afternoon, the man begrudgingly loaded his coach with food. He rode along the winding forest trail until he came upon the hut that the Baal Shem Tov had told him about. He knocked on the door, and a poor woman in tattered clothes answered, and the man asked if he could spend Shabbat with her family. The husband and his wife were overjoyed to have a Shabbat guest, even though there was barely enough food on their table for their family. At that moment, the man uncovered the food he had brought with him. They froze at the sight of such abundant and beautiful food. The husband and wife set the table with their best dishes. It was a Shabbat like no other this family had ever experienced. They ate well, they drank well, they sang and they prayed. And then the wife made up the one bed they had in their home with the very best sheets and linens for their special guest. All through the night and the next day, the man waited impatiently for Elijah to appear, but there was no sign of the prophet anywhere. By Saturday night, as Shabbat came to an end, the selfish and miserly man was fuming. The Baal Shem Tov deceived me. Elijah is not here. He is nowhere to be found. And I wasted all this food and my time on these poor people. They can't help me find Elijah. The selfish and miserly man raced out in a huff, but as he stormed away, he overheard the sound of rejoicing coming from inside the hut. He stopped to listen. Who was that man that brought us all that food? The wife asked her husband. Don't you remember? Did you not recognize him? Her husband asked. The man who came to bless us. That man, that was the prophet Elijah. On Yom Kippur, we have the opportunity to choose how we want to be remembered. Will we be remembered as selfish and miserly? Or will we be remembered as Elijah, who brings goodness and peace to other people and to the world? Will we choose to be remembered as the ones who left others out and ostracized them? Or will we choose to be remembered as the nice ones, the kind ones? Will we choose to be remembered for what we did for ourselves or what we did for others? On Yom Kippur, we are instructed in the Torah to choose life. But I ask all of us here tonight, what will that life look like? How will our life be remembered? It is my sincere prayer that tonight and every day forward in this new year, that we will have the courage to choose a life where we will be remembered for goodness, for peace, and for blessing. And that when we have the choice, the chance to be right or to be kind, that we will always try and choose kind.